So starting the test drive in the X6 here. First of all, let me just go ahead and get into the actual, just what I find weird about this vehicle other than what I already covered. So the hill descent control is right here below the Eco Pro button on the shifter. I find that pretty strange, just because it's just right lined up with the drive modes. And then just the settings, how everything is laid out. Once you get used to it, it makes a lot of sense, but BMW has a track record of extremely complicated infotainment systems, and this one is no different. So your general settings right in here, and I went through this already, but just everything is just, there's so much going on there. And then the actual car settings here, like the vehicle status, all of that, tire pressure monitors, engine levels, or oil levels, excuse me. It's just so much to really, it's overwhelming, I think, for the average driver. And then you have this experience modes thing here. So if I hit expressive, enjoy life and positive energy, it gives you a weird kind of sound, and then the roof opens up. Now, I don't necessarily want that going on because it's hot outside. So just a few wonky things like that the BMW people will probably love. Now, in terms of the driving experience, this 3-liter turbocharged inline 6 is just a fantastic engine, and paired with this 8-speed automatic, just I mean, it's the driving machine, it's the ultimate driving machine for this class, I think. Obviously, you can get faster ones, but just for a somewhat stock powertrain option, it's pretty fun to drive. And this is in comfort mode. In BMWs, where they have super complicated infotainment systems and buttons and knobs and all of that, where they really shine is with how their vehicles drive. And this one is no different. Now, I don't know long term how these 3 liters with the 8 speeds have held up, but there's certainly, you want to put your foot in them. Now, I do like the manual mode because it is a true manual mode, and you really don't get that a lot these days. But this thing shifts when I tell it to, downshifts when I tell it to. Just a very, very impressive setup in terms of just a driving machine that I feel like I have full control of. And keep in mind, this is in comfort mode too, so I'm gonna put it in the sport mode as we get on the interstate and see what it's really got. So very quick, very quick. And I love in the sport mode how it downshifts and all that. Now with this Friday evening traffic, kind of hard to open her up, but the ride itself is actually pretty nice. Now with these wheels and tires being more low profile, and especially with this part of the interstate being a little beat up, there is quite a bit of road noise, but nothing terrible. And again, the ride quality is pretty superb. And I love the power side bolsters because those just make for, I feel like, a comfortable ride, but I also feel extremely secure. So when I'm taking corners in this hard, I'm staying in the seat. But just, I love, BMW does a great job at making fun cars to drive. That's where they shine probably the most. And this one's no different, even though this is kind of the mid-size SUV segment. It's not meant to be exciting. This is still quick, even though it's just an M Sport. It's not even an M or anything like that. Very impressive. So putting it in the standard sport mode is probably your best option just driving around. I think the Sport Plus is something where if you want full-on throttle response, you have that, but the sport mode is aggressive but still somewhat practical. But the Sport Plus mode is just so fun because you feel like you're like in an M6 instead of an X6. just with how it wants to downshift by itself, and it's fantastic. It really is. But the sport mode, specifically if you want to use your paddle shifters for acceleration, but you don't necessarily want to thrash it, sport is probably your best bet. And I like that you get the sport mode, you get the sport plus mode, and you have the sport individual mode that you can actually set up yourself. But since we're going to be in some slow traffic here, let's go ahead and put the Eco Pro mode on. So of course everything kind of dies down. Very quiet in here now. Yeah, very, very quiet. I'm gonna give it a little throttle here. And even putting my foot just a little bit into it, it just slowly pulls away, as opposed to trying to redline like it would in the Sport Plus. But I love that about this vehicle because it gives you three, well, more than three, but three separate drive modes. You can have your comfort mode where you have power at your fingertips, but it's not necessarily full-on hard throttle power. And then of course the sport mode is crazy. And the Eco Pro mode just gives you a nice driving feel where you can try to maximize your fuel efficiency. And I love that it shows you all the stuff that's important there. It's just showing you what your fuel mileage is. And then when you put it into sport mode, it's like, here's a tachometer. So very neat and very cool. And then I feel like in the comfort mode, it's kind of letting you know just your power output there. So a great vehicle, just if you want several different drive modes, several different ways of driving, you have that versatility. So Auto Collection of Murfreesboro has this one priced pretty competitively at $78,000, but bargain competitors would definitely be the Chevy Blazer, I think. And then you also have the Buick variant having that Envision. And there are just so many small to mid-size SUV options this can compare with, but there's really nothing that has this kind of, I mean, you can get like a GLE or something like that from Mercedes, but there's really nothing else that kind of touches something that's this fun to drive, specifically for Mercedes, that isn't an AMG variant. And this just checks all the boxes for me while still being competitively priced. But we'll do one more pull in sport mode for good measure. And this will bring me to the end of my review of this 2023 BMW X6.